I'm Alex Chen, and this is the story of how I learned that in the tech world, the biggest threats don't come from competitors, they come from within. 3 days ago, I was kicked out of SecureFlow, the cybersecurity startup I had built from scratch in my garage. Today, I'm about to teach my former partners a $10 million lesson about the true meaning of security. It started 5 years ago when I first spotted a critical vulnerability in how major corporations handled their internal communications. I was working as a junior security analyst at GlobalTech Solutions, spending my days monitoring network traffic and my nights coding what would eventually become SecureFlow's core technology. The idea was simple but revolutionary: a communication platform that could detect and prevent data leaks before they happened, using advanced AI to monitor patterns and flag potential security breaches in real time. What made it unique was its predictive engine, my breakthrough that took 2 years of sleepless nights to perfect. "This is impressive work," Marcus Liu, my best friend since college, said when I first showed him the prototype. "But you need help to scale this. You need business expertise." He was right. I was a coder, not a businessman. That's how Marcus became my co-founder and CEO with me as CTO. We brought in Sarah Williams next, a sharp-minded venture capitalist who saw SecureFlow's potential immediately. "This could be a billion-dollar company," she said during our first meeting. "But you'll need to trust me with the financial structure." I trusted them both. That was my first mistake. The next 3 years were a blur of growth. We secured seed funding, then Series A, then Series B. Major corporations started adopting our platform. SecureFlow grew from just the three of us to 50 employees, then 100. Our valuation hit $100 million. But with each funding round, my ownership percentage shrank. "It's normal dilution," Sarah would explain, sliding complex documents across the table. "We need to make room for investors." Marcus would add, "Don't worry about the details, Alex. Focus on the technology. That's what you're good at." I focused on the technology. That was my second mistake. I should have seen the signs. The private meetings I wasn't invited to. The new board members who looked through me during presentations. The gradual shift of decision-making away from the technical side to the business side. Then came the Goldman deal. Goldman Sachs wanted to implement SecureFlow across their entire global operations, a $10 million contract that would establish us as the industry leader. But they had one condition: they wanted customizations to our core engine. These modifications could compromise the system's integrity, I argued during the board meeting. The predictive engine wasn't designed to. "The deal is already signed," Marcus cut me off. "We need these changes implemented before Friday's launch." I stared at him. "You signed it without consulting me?" "We consulted the new development team," Sarah interjected smoothly. "They assured us the changes are feasible." New development team. Yes, Marcus leaned forward. "We decided to restructure the technical department. You'll be taking on an advisory role instead of day-to-day operations." That's when I finally saw their endgame. They'd been planning this for months, systematically pushing me to the margins of my own company. The Goldman deal was just the final piece. "I won't approve changes that could compromise the system," I said firmly. Marcus smiled. It wasn't the smile of my old friend anymore. "Actually, you don't have a choice. The board has already voted." I looked around the room. The other board members avoided my eyes. They'd all been picked by Sarah and Marcus over the years. All except Dr. Chen, my old professor who believed in me from the start. But his seat was empty today. "Where's Dr. Chen?" I asked. "He resigned his board seat last week," Sarah said. "Sold his shares too. Health reasons." I knew then that I'd lost. They'd orchestrated everything perfectly. The next words confirmed it. "Furthermore," Marcus continued, "given your reluctance to embrace the company's new direction, the board has decided to terminate your position, effective immediately." "You're firing me?" I laughed in disbelief. "I built this company." "You built the prototype," Sarah corrected. "The company owns all the IP now. Your 2% stake is essentially worthless since we're restructuring the share classes. You should be grateful for the severance package." Security appeared at the door. Professional, emotionless, waiting to escort me out. I could have argued, could have threatened legal action. Instead, I stood up calmly, picked up my laptop, and walked to the door. Then I turned back one last time. "The Goldman launch is in 3 days," I said quietly. "Sure you don't need my help with the implementation?" Marcus waved his hand dismissively. Our new team has it handled. Don't worry about things that aren't your concern anymore. I nodded. Good luck then. They didn't notice my slight smile as I left. They didn't know about the original source code I kept or about the backdoor protocol embedded deep in the system's architecture. Most importantly, they didn't know what would happen when they tried to modify my predictive engine without understanding its true nature. As I walked out of SecureFlow's offices for the last time, I wasn't worried. I didn't need to fight back. I just needed to wait. In exactly 72 hours, when Goldman's system went live, they would learn the true meaning of security and the real cost of betrayal. The next 72 hours were the longest of my life. I spent them in my home office, surrounded by 5 years' worth of SecureFlow's development history, lines of code I'd written at 3 a.m., architectural diagrams sketched on napkins, and most importantly, the original source code that Marcus and Sarah didn't know existed. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from concerned employees who'd heard about my departure. Most touching was a message from Jenny, our first junior developer. "This isn't right, Alex. The new team doesn't understand the system's core architecture. They're making massive changes without proper testing." I replied with a simple "thanks for letting me know" and turned back to my monitors. Through a secure connection that even SecureFlow's best couldn't detect, I watched them butcher my code. The new team was implementing Goldman's requested changes exactly as Marcus and Sarah wanted, and exactly as I predicted they would. What they didn't understand was that SecureFlow's predictive engine wasn't just a piece of software. It was an AI system that learned, adapted, and most importantly, remembered its original parameters. Every modification they made was like teaching it what a security threat looked like. Dr. Chen called around midnight. "I didn't resign for health reasons, Alex," he said without preamble. "They forced me out last week," said my technical background was clouding my business judgment. I smiled. "Did they know you helped me design the original security protocols?" "No," he chuckled. "They were too busy explaining business strategies to an old professor. But I saw the Goldman contract. What they're trying to do to your system, it won't work, will it?" "Watch tomorrow's launch," I replied, "and maybe record it." The morning of the Goldman launch, SecureFlow's offices were buzzing with activity. Through my secure connection, I watched Marcus and Sarah prepare for their moment of triumph. The Goldman executives were attending virtually, along with tech journalists and major investors. Everyone wanted to see the future of corporate security. At precisely 9 a.m., Marcus stood before the cameras, radiating confidence. "Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a new era in cybersecurity. SecureFlow's implementation across Goldman Sachs' global network represents the largest deployment of predictive security technology in banking history." Sarah joined him at the podium. "We've customized our core technology to meet Goldman's specific needs, creating a seamless integration that will set new industry standards." I checked my watch. In exactly 3 minutes, they would initiate the system-wide deployment. That's when my real code would wake up. Marcus continued his presentation, clicking through slides showing SecureFlow's enhanced architecture. "Our modified predictive engine now allows for greater flexibility in data handling, while maintaining." He never finished that sentence. On every screen in Goldman's global offices, SecureFlow's interface suddenly changed. The sleek corporate design was replaced by scrolling lines of diagnostic data. "Analyzing system modifications," the display announced. "DTKC changed to CQRTY VUNERDILITIs." Marcus frantically clicked his presenter, but nothing responded. "Minor technical difficulty," he stammered. "Our team will." "Critical security 3 keys DTTTD," the system continued. "Unauthorized modifications to core architecture QMUR fundamental CQRITY protocols." The screens filled with side-by-side comparisons. The original secure code versus their modifications. Each change they'd made was highlighted in red, with detailed explanations of the vulnerabilities they'd introduced. "What's happening?" Goldman's CTO demanded. "Is our data at risk?" No, Sarah jumped in. "This is just a simulation results," the system interrupted. "Modified architecture, LO was FOLOWBNG unauthorized access points." What followed was a detailed demonstration of exactly how their changes had created backdoors into Goldman's most sensitive systems. The AI methodically exposed every flaw, every vulnerability, every potential disaster they'd narrowly avoided. "Stop it," Marcus shouted at his technical team. "Shut it down." Unable to override, someone called back. "The system's running some kind of deep diagnostic we've never seen before." Of course they hadn't seen it. It was my original security protocol designed to protect the system not just from external threats, but from internal sabotage. They'd spent weeks trying to modify my code without understanding that every change they made only strengthened its core purpose: to identify and expose security threats. Conclusion, the system announced. Current implementation serious critical security risks. Reverting to original secure architecture. The screens shifted again, showing the system restoring itself to its original state. My state. In the corner, a small signature appeared. Original architecture by Alex Chen. The Goldman executives were livid. "You assured us these modifications were tested and secure," their CTO said coldly. "Instead, you nearly expose our entire global network. This contract is terminated." "Wait," Marcus pleaded. "We can fix this. Our team can." "Your team." Jenny stood up from her desk. "You mean the team that warned you these changes would compromise the system? The team you ignored?" Other developers joined in, finally voicing their concerns about the rushed modifications, the ignored warnings, the reckless decisions made for the sake of a quick profit. Sarah's phone was buzzing constantly, investors demanding emergency meetings. Marcus slumped in his chair, staring at the screen still displaying the evidence of their technical incompetence. That's when my email arrived in everyone's inbox. To the board of SecureFlow. What you witnessed today wasn't a malfunction. It was SecureFlow operating exactly as designed, identifying and preventing security threats before they can cause damage. The system recognized your modifications as what they were: a critical threat to its core security architecture. You thought you could simply change a few lines of code and own my life's work. You forgot that true security isn't about ownership papers or board votes. It's about understanding the fundamental nature of what you're trying to protect. I'm attaching documentation proving that the original source code, which the system automatically reverted to, belongs to my private repository developed before SecureFlow's incorporation. Check the timestamps. Also attached are recordings of all board meetings where you discussed removing me, courtesy of Dr. Chen's meticulous note-taking habit. The SEC might be interested in how you handled those share redistributions. You have two options. Fight this, try to explain to Goldman and other clients why you knowingly attempted to compromise their security, and deal with the investor lawsuits that will follow. Reinstate me as CTO with full control over SecureFlow's technical direction. Restore my original ownership stake, and let me clean up your mess. You have 1 hour to decide. Best regards, Alex Chen, creator of SecureFlow. The response took 12 minutes. By evening, I was back in my office at SecureFlow. Marcus and Sarah had been asked to resign by the board. Dr. Chen was reinstated as head of our newly created Technical Ethics Committee. Jenny was promoted to lead developer. As I walked through the office, developers who had watched silently as I was forced out now stopped to shake my hand. They'd learned what I'd known all along, that in technology, as in life, true security comes from respect for fundamental principles, not from corporate politics. I found Marcus clearing out his office. He looked up as I entered, his face a mix of anger and shame. "You planned this," he said. "All of it. You knew we'd try to modify the system." I shook my head. "I didn't plan anything. I just built a system that does exactly what we always claimed it did: protects against security threats, no matter where they come from. You were the ones who proved how well it works." He didn't respond as I turned to leave, but I stopped at the door. "You know what the saddest part is, Marcus? If you just asked me to help with the Goldman customizations, I could have shown you how to do them safely. But you were so busy trying to steal my creation, you forgot why you wanted it in the first place." The next few months were intense. We had to rebuild trust with clients, restructure the company, and restore the technical integrity that had made SecureFlow great in the first place. But something interesting happened along the way. Our value increased. Clients appreciated a company that took security seriously enough to protect itself from internal threats. Goldman came back, this time asking for a proper implementation. Other banks followed. It turns out, demonstrating that your security system can prevent even its own creators from compromising it is quite a selling point. Dr. Chen dropped by my office one evening as I was reviewing some code. "You know," he said, settling into a chair. "In all my years teaching computer science, I've never seen a better demonstration of why technical integrity matters more than corporate politics." I smiled, thinking about the lessons of the past few months. The funny thing is, I didn't build that security protocol to catch them. I built it because it was the right way to design the system. The fact that it caught their betrayal was just, poetic justice. He nodded sagely. The best security isn't about paranoia or control. It's about building things the right way and letting them do what they're designed to do. Today, SecureFlow is valued at over $1 billion. We're the industry leader in predictive security, trusted by the world's largest financial institutions. I still write code, still spend late nights perfecting our system. But now I also teach our developers the most important lesson I learned. In technology, as in life, true security isn't about keeping others out. It's about staying true to your core principles, no matter what pressures you face. Sometimes the best way to protect what you've built is to make it strong enough to protect itself. As for Marcus and Sarah, last I heard, they were trying to launch their own startup. I wish them luck. Maybe this time they'll remember that in the world of technology, integrity isn't just a moral choice, it's a technical necessity. The story of SecureFlow's miraculous self-defense became a legend in tech circles. But for me, it was never about revenge or even justice. It was about proving that in the end, good code, like truth, has a way of protecting itself.